Hello and welcome to our latest unboxing video. I'm Eliza. I'm here in the Hatfield Public Library. This is a little out of the ordinary, but I am in the basement of the Hatfield Public Library. You can see our lovely biography section behind me. We have a ton of books coming in right now because this is just the time of year when they all come in, and for some reason a whole bunch came in at once. So I just want some of them on the shelf, new books for the weekend, and so even though the library is open, I'm hiding down in the basement so I can just do a quick video. But it's kind of fun to have a new location. And let's start out with classic Alexander McCall Smith, writes sort of cozy mysteries. This one is set in Africa. It's part of the #1 ladies detective agency, and it's called the Joy and Light Bus Company. One thing that I think is funny about these books is that every single one says the new #1 ladies detective agency, but if you go back to the series, it's like, well, that's not the latest one anymore. But anyway, such a fun series, very popular. I think just like a reliably entertaining read. Here is something different. It's called West with Giraffes by Lynda Rutledge, and it's a paperback, which is kind of nice. Ooh, giraffe on the back cover. About a 105-year-old man born in 1938. So even though he was born in the past, the book is taking place in the future, and he finds himself recalling an unforgettable experience that happened. Oh no, he was born even before 1938. But in 1938, he found 2 giraffes and did a 12-day road trip with them. And so he's sort of remembering this and also, I guess, reflecting on his present. So this is a big one. We have 2 copies, and it's very heavy, physically big, and also big in terms of being popular. It is Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr, who many people already will recognize the name because he wrote All the Light We Cannot See, which was so popular and is still so popular. Very thick book, and I think a very different story. Yes, set in Constantinople in the 15th century, which is really interesting because a lot of, we get a lot of historical fiction, but most of it is in the last century, not that far back, or maybe like 1800s, but not 15 or not 1400s. Soaring story about children on the cusp of adulthood. I mean, it sounds like there is a lot going on in this book. I mean, that makes sense. It's a really thick book, so I won't try to summarize all of it, but it definitely sounds like for all the many, many people who liked All the Light We Cannot See, they are going to want Cloud Cuckoo Land. Another follow-up from a popular book, Bewilderment, by Richard Powers, who wrote The Overstory, which was super popular. I remember The Overstory being sort of intimidatingly thick, but this is quite slim. So if anybody like me thought, oh, I don't have time to read The Overstory, maybe we can try this one. It's about an astrobiologist searching for life throughout the cosmos while trying to raise he's a single father to his 9-year-old son, who sounds like he's maybe an unconventional kid. He spends hours drawing, but then he hits a kid in the face and gets expelled from school. So about both, I think his books, I haven't read one yet, but I think his books have a very philosophical bent. Bourdain, The Definitive Oral Biography by Laurie Woolever. He died a few years ago, which was very unfortunate, and there have been a lot of stuff about his life, and this looks like it's based on 91 interviews with people who knew him. Here's a photo. He just seemed like a fascinating guy. There's been several documentaries and books about him, but I think I just get a sense that people just really want to try to understand him. Ooh, oh. I was getting really excited about this one, and then it turned out to be a pretty dark-looking book. This is called Uncontrolled Spread, Why COVID-19 Crushed Us and How We Can Defeat the Next Pandemic by Gottlieb. It is. That's pretty much what it says in the summary, and it definitely feels like it would be nice if another pandemic comes to maybe have things go slightly better than they have this time. Rationality, What It Is, Why It Seems Scarce, and Why It Matters by Steven Pinker, who is a very popular nonfiction author. And I'm not really sure like what his profession is. Is he he's a psychologist, written a lot of books. And it's about how is it possible to make people more rational. That is a very, very interesting that's a really interesting question. I actually think about that a lot, and I like that he says he starts out by just rejecting the idea that humans are just fundamentally irrational and sort of saying like let's figure out how to make this work. That's a kid's book. That's a kid's book. We'll save that. Hayley Mills, Forever Young, a memoir. Wow, she looks really pretty on the cover. I'm not super sure who she is. I don't know if it's someone who was before my time. She starred in Pollyanna. It must have been the first Parent Trap movie. That Darn Cat. So her teenagehood was spent in Hollywood, and she was the biggest child star of the 1960s. And so that's a memoir. People love Hollywood memoirs. They're always interesting stuff. Very last book, Crossroads. This is another big one by the famous Jonathan Franzen. I love the cover of this one. I don't know, something about the fact that it's sort of zoomed in and like slightly out of focus and like just goes right off the edges of the page is very inviting. I have really enjoyed some of Jonathan Franzen books and others not so much, but I think that's because he's always really pushing himself as a writer. This one has gotten really good reviews. Looks like it takes place in the 70s. Yeah, a family drama. He's really good at having multiple characters and just getting into sort of the intricacies. But I'm not saying that right, of everybody's lives. So this also going to be on a lot of people's lists. Yay, new books. I'm so excited. And I will be back next week with more videos. Bye.